Welcome to Earth Day United. Adventure Aquarium, the Philadelphia Zoo, and the Academy of Natural Science have all joined forces to talk all things Earth Day. We're going to chat about all the challenges facing land, sea, biodiversity, as well as some things you all can do at home. So let's meet our panel. I'll start off with myself. My name is Liz Hahn. I'm Zoological Operations Manager here at Adventure Aquarium.
Hi, I'm Karen Verderami with the Academy of Natural Sciences of Drexel University, and I'm their Animal Programs Developer.
Hi everyone, I am Danny Hogan, and I am the Manager of Education Programs at Philadelphia Zoo.
Great, welcome. So Danny, do you want to touch a little bit about why Earth Day is so important?
Of course. Now we are celebrating the 50th anniversary of Earth Day, which is super exciting. And for many of us, we've never known a world without Earth Day. And that's so important, right? I mean, what better way to celebrate the planet that we all live on than by having at least one day where we all dedicate ourselves to doing whatever we can to make the world a better place. But today, in today's day and age, it's especially important because we find ourselves in a world facing a set of global environmental challenges, from the loss of biodiversity to climate change, plastic pollution, and that call for action needs to occur at all levels of government. So Earth Day 2020 will be far more than just a day. We need it to be a historic moment where citizens of the world can rise up in a united call for creativity, innovation, ambition, and bravery. And those are the things that we need to meet the current climate crisis and seize the enormous opportunities of a zero carbon future. Simply put, we all need to unite for change.
Absolutely, well said. Karen, do you want to talk about what's been accomplished since our very first Earth Day in 1970?
Since the first Earth Day was conceived back in 1970, there has been a lot of progress made. Most importantly was the establishment of the Environmental Protection Agency, which has helped put laws forth such as the Clean Air Act, Clean Water Act, and Endangered Species Act, as well as many others that have proven to improve the living existence for all life on Earth, especially mankind. And without a lot of those laws in place, we wouldn't have the diversity that we have today. Also, it has put a call to action for a lot of citizen sciences and draw awareness to why Earth Day should matter and be every day, like Danny was saying. It is something that we're all should be stewards of the Earth, and this will help us move forward and make it a sustainable future.
Awesome. So this year's theme is climate action. Climate change is one of the biggest, biggest challenges to the future of humanity, wildlife, and the ecosystems that make this world habitable. So we're going to talk about a lot of things here, and Danny's going to start off with endangered species and how they're impacted. Take it away, Danny.
Of course. So endangered species, like the Humboldt penguins that you see behind me, are actually, unfortunately, greatly impacted by climate change. And it's not just polar bears, let's be honest. I know everybody thinks about climate change and they think about polar bears living where it's cold, but climate change doesn't just impact areas where it's cold. It affects sea levels and rain levels and drought levels and heavy storms. Many of the species that the Philadelphia Zoo works with around the world are deeply impacted by climate change in a negative way. So climate change is something that we are extremely passionate about. And we also, thankfully, are very passionate about empowering people here in the Philadelphia region and around the world to make a difference in whatever way they can to make the world a better place and to mitigate their impact on climate change. Now, one of the ways that we do that is through something called the Unless Contest. Now, this is a K-12 contest, so anybody in grades kindergarten through 12th grade can register for this contest, and it takes place throughout the school year. And what we do is we challenge these students to come up with new and innovative and exciting ways to make their home, their school, and their community a better place for themselves and for the wildlife who live here. And they do all of this work on behalf of endangered species around the world, one of which is the Humboldt penguin here. So that they're they understand that their impacts that they're doing here in Philadelphia can be felt around the world, animals that they choose to represent. There's others like the golden lion tamarin or the Tasmanian golden frog who will also be positively impacted by the work of the Unless contest. So that's something that we're really passionate about. We encourage people in our area to take these small changes that it can have a huge, huge impact on wildlife and really everybody around them.
Hey, Danny, how can our actions in Philadelphia impact wildlife around the world?
So sometimes the answer is obvious, and it could be something as simple as one of our Unless contest groups were able to just they walked into a local restaurant and asked them to stop serving single-use plastic straws with all of their drinks. And a couple of restaurants agreed to do it, and that reduces the amount of waste all around the world because all of our waterways are connected. Sometimes it's a little bit more complex where people, again, the Unless contest, they got a whole bunch of people in their community and everybody that they knew as far as they could reach over the internet to sign a petition for leaders in Brazil who were considering whether or not to build a land bridge connecting two fragmented habitats for a tiny little golden monkey called the golden lion tamarin. Without that land bridge, these tamarins can no longer reproduce and they will continue to be critically endangered. And thankfully, that petition was really successful, and that land bridge is actually being built right now, and it's going to be ready to go later this year. So those impacts have a direct positive correlation to saving wildlife in their native habitats. And on top of that, the little things that we do here in Philadelphia can have a huge impact all around the world as far as climate change is concerned. Every time you save energy, you save wildlife, and that's what we want people to recognize.
That's great. So here at Adventure Aquarium, we're going to talk a little bit about ocean plastics. So the production of plastics alone contributes greatly to climate change, as 99% of plastics are produced using fossil fuels. So that's strike one. Strike two is that about 8 million metric tons of plastic end up in our oceans every year. And wildlife, including our sea turtles and our sharks here, either get entangled in it or accidentally ingest it because they mistake it for food. So our sea turtles, one of their main components of their diet are actually jellyfish. And I want to give you a quick example of, can you guys see that?
Yeah.
So in here we have a jellyfish, we have a plastic bag, and we also have a water bottle. So you can see that it can be very easy to mistake a jellyfish for floating plastic. So when we are, using plastic items, when we're going to the beach, we want to remember to either recycle, but bigger yet, why don't replace a single-use plastic with something reusable? Think of the end product and where it's going to go. Is it going to end up in our oceans? Can we prevent that from happening? Our sea turtles here, Stitches, you can kind of see Ian up here. We also have Bob, Old Green, and Ozzy. They all are great ambassadors for their wildlife counterparts. So when you think of using plastics, think of these guys and how you might save their counterparts out in the wild.
Now that's great. That's really exciting to hear that you can have such an impact on this wildlife. Now sea turtles are threatened not just by plastic pollution, though. They're also threatened by climate change, right? So how do they deal with that?
Yeah, so they're getting hit from all angles here. So we're now experiencing sea level rising and as well very violent storms, both of which are contributing to beach erosion. So the loss of that habitat is actually going to impact them laying eggs. So they use the beach to lay eggs, and with no beach, there's going to be nowhere for them to lay those eggs. And another interesting point that is starting to be talked about is that with the rising temperatures, it will affect the sex determination of those eggs. So with sea turtles, the warmer the temperature, you're going to produce a female. So if the nest temperatures start to increase and continue to increase, it could leave us with a shortage of males, which is crazy to think about.
Yikes.
Yeah. So we're also going to talk a little bit about biodiversity. And Karen, you want to take us away?
Sure, great. Biodiversity is the variety of all living things on Earth. That includes animals, plants, bacteria, fungi, any living organism. And it's the variation of the genetics, species, and the ecology. Biodiversity is what makes Earth habitable for all life, especially us. We depend on biodiversity to provide us food, medicine, clean air, clean water, and biodiversity also can help the prevention of infectious disease. So it's very important that we pay attention to it, not only as citizens of Earth, but also scientists pay close attention to biodiversity. Many species are important indicators of how their environment is, whether it's healthy or if it is something that is becoming endangered. This is a blue-tongued skink here. It is not endangered, but it is one of the many species of biodiversity that are represented in Australia. He's really interested in things swimming behind you guys, by the way, too. I don't know if you've noticed that. But the biodiversity throughout the world, it's important to research and find out exactly how many species there are. Scientists believe over 80% of life on Earth is still yet to be identified. They think they have managed a good portion, but it's really just a drop in the bucket. Just alone with insects, there's only 1 million species identified, and it's estimated 30 more million insects still left to be identified. So biodiversity is this huge thing, but it is a very important thing. It's the building stones of life, and it's what keeps the Earth spinning.
That's awesome, and that's a lot of bugs.
It's a lot of bugs. They really.
I'm so excited about all the new bugs we're going to meet in our lifetimes. Now, the Academy is actually doing research around biodiversity. Can you tell us more about that?
Yes, our Center for Systematics, Biology, and Evolution, we have one of the largest and oldest natural history collections of specimens. We have over 17 million specimens of plants and animals in our collection. And this is important because this research, when they survey areas, is a snapshot of time into the ecology and health of that ecosystem. And by looking at the representation of the species and how diverse it is, can show how viable a environment may be, or where it's depleting. It also can help predict trends for mass extinction events, similar to like kind of what happened behind us, and also help us prepare for the future and how to maybe slow down. Right now, we are in one of the fastest extinction events known on Earth since the history of Earth. So our researchers are working around the world in collaborations with other researchers from all over, and our collections are a vital point of information for that snapshot in time of what those various ecosystems look like.
Wow, that's great. So what I'm interested in is what you guys do personally to help combat climate change. Danny, you want to let us know what you do?
Yeah, so something that I do at home is I am very mindful of the temperature outside and what temperature it is in the house. So we keep our house like way colder than most people in the winter. We're usually hovering like in the upper 50s to low 60s, if that. And I know a lot of people try to hit like 70. That's a little warm for me personally, and that takes a ton of energy. So we keep our temperature way down in the winter, and in the summer, it definitely gets warm in there as well. We don't turn on our air conditioning until we absolutely have to. And that saves so much energy. Heating and air conditioning takes so much energy. So not only is that really good for the environment, but it also saves us some money. So we love doing that.
That's great. Karen?
I like creating backyard habitats, particularly something as simple as just leaving the leaf litter down as the fall leaves fall is a great way to encourage arthropods to overwinter, so they are there to do their jobs in the spring. And there's many ways that you can do just simple little making backyard habitats, whether it's planting native species to encourage your local biodiversity, to bee houses and bird houses, just to encourage those native species to prosper.
That's great. And I'm going to build on that because we have some little bee and insect houses in our vegetable garden. So something that I'm really proud of doing is I grow in the summer all of our vegetables and fruits, and that really cuts down on this transport to bring food to my mouth, which which is great because it cuts down a lot on unnecessary carbon emissions. And it's delicious, it's fun, and it also provides a lot of habitat and some pollination for some local insects.
That's awesome.
So now we want to let families know what they can do to get involved. Karen, do you want to kind of let people know what they can do?
Yeah, there's a variety of ways that you can be involved. And one of our campaigns we're running right now is Small Actions Spark Big Change. This is our Spark program where you can go on our website and check out our Earth Week or our Science at Home, and we have lots of suggestions. It can be something as simple as a little action, again, of creating a backyard habitat, leaving leaf litter, recycling. Just those little actions can have a big impact on the improvement of our environment and a sustainable future.
Awesome. Danny?
Yeah, so the zoo, we know that there are a million different things that you can do. And we're so thankful for places like the Academy who are working together with us to highlight some of these things. We've heard from a lot of people that they sometimes get overwhelmed when they're faced with the amount of choices that they have to make that could be potentially good for the planet or potentially bad for the planet. So the advice that I really love to give people at home is to strive for progress, not perfection, and to have courage and be bold about the choice that you make. So you don't have to do everything all at once. You don't have to convert your entire life to something that's more sustainable, but pick something that you're really passionate about and that you can achieve and that you can change and that you can make a difference with. And if you are courageous about it and you're bold about it and you talk to people about it and you make that change, that's what's going to make the difference. So the important thing that we ask people to do is whatever's going to work for you, because that's what's going to be most important.
Great. So here at Adventure Aquarium, we actually encourage people to take a single-use plastic and maybe replace it with something reusable. And it could be anything. It could be a plastic bag to a reusable bag, or a straw to a reusable straw, or even just say no to a straw. We don't need it. We can just sip. This is coming from us and our sea turtles as well. So when you are given the opportunity to reuse something, go ahead and do it. So do you guys have anything else to add before we kind of close up?
No.
All right. Well,
Make
I think
choices, everybody.
what?
Make good choices.
Make good choices, exactly. Well, I thank you both, Danny and Karen, for being here. I really, really appreciate the company here and all the messaging that you're providing. It's great what you guys are doing, and we support you fully. And we want to thank everyone out there for joining in. We encourage everyone to hit up Adventure Aquarium, Academy of Natural Science, Philadelphia Zoo's Facebook page to learn more about what you can do, as well as earthday.org, so you can learn a bunch more things about Earth Day. So thank you and happy Earth Day, everyone.
Happy Earth Day. Thanks for hosting.
Hi.
Who wants to say hello? He's very enthralled.
Look at that blue tongue.
From doing things. See, diversity at its best. Look at those adaptations.